Yo, my dudes. This is the first edition of ADG's The Hot Drop. So, John, you're my counterpart today. It's me and you, Johnny the Dad, or as he goes by in Call of Duty, Mike's Oxlong.
That's just a Call of Duty name. I made it when I was in the Army, and we thought it was funny. All right? It's Mike Oxlong.
Hey, listen.
I'm not proud of it, but here we are.
It's what we got. Hey, it's cool. I've had iTiger since junior high, so 7th grade. I've had iTiger. We've been here at the OG, and so yeah, that's what you guys are gonna see me. You probably know me as Jet Boyer on all the other AD stuff, but here I'm iTiger. So this is where I get to kind of, be Batman, if you will. But this is the Hot Drop. This is where we're gonna bring you guys all the latest news, interviews, keep you up to date on all things gaming. And man, we have got a very special one for the first one. This is a streamer friend of mine that, man, if you guys are not following his Twitch and YouTube, we're going to get into it about, kind of where he kind of came from, how he got involved in some of the stuff he's gotten involved in. But this is my guy, the American Riot. You can find him at American Riot on Twitch and on YouTube. The dude is electric, the most electrifying, entertaining, and the king of hype. We're just
I'm ready. I'm excited.
All right. This is my dude. Here we go.
Yo, thank you for having me, brother. Appreciate you guys. You guys are fine. No. Yo, what's up, boys? Welcome. Well, thank you for having me. Well, it was a nice, warm welcome. Usually I'm used to saying welcome, but you guys, what a great welcome. Hey, what's up? I'm here.
Yeah, we are so excited to have the American.
I love it, dude. I love it. That was sick. Dude.
About to have to go back to my Screamo days,
Dude.
back in the early 2000s. No, okay. I see you, Johnny. All right.
Yeah, that hurt. That one, I think I busted something.
Yeah, it's not supposed to hurt. Yeah,
It's not supposed to.
It's not supposed to hurt.
Dude, so first of all, thank you so much for being the first guest on the first episode of the Hot Drop, bro. We're super excited to have you.
The inaugural guest.
Dude,
this is wild. Okay.
Dude, I was pumped. I was super pumped. I was telling Johnny, I was like, dude, it's like, I feel like we really need to kick off this episode. Like, if we're going to do this with a bang, I really want a good guest. And lo and behold, it just happened to be on my Twitch account. I just logged back into my iTiger Gaming after we started getting back into everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like a little icon that I'm very familiar with, the skull with the American flag. And I was like, yo, Riot? What is this guy doing?
Yeah, he hasn't quit Twitch yet. This is great. He's still in it.
Dude, yeah, he's just got a little gray in his beard, but that's great.
Yeah,
the
he's
guest
still
we
dumb
had
enough to think he can make it work. Yeah.
The guest we had booked before you was actually my mom talking about Atari. So
okay,
this is a slight upgrade. I don't know. She's pretty.
Yeah, I don't know. She sounds pretty badass if she's talking about Atari.
Yeah, dude. She had a killer Pong move, if you know what I mean.
That's fair.
So, she went left and then right.
Yeah,
pretty
no zigging or zagging. But Riot, again, for everybody who does not know who you are, 4,700 followers on Twitch. So those of you who don't know, that is an extremely difficult task to do if you've never tried streaming on Twitch. Very saturated market on just about every game at this point. It's very hard to set yourself apart. Has eclipsed the 1,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, which again, as someone who we recently did that with Athletically Declined Sports, congrats. That is a difficult thing to do. That is so freaking awesome. And we'll get into this a little bit later, but GrayZone Warfare community leader and just overall, just legit dude and awesome husband and father of two.
Yeah, that's it sounds about right. It sounds way awesome. I don't know. You guys made me sound so great. I don't I just am a dude that screams in a microphone, you know what I mean? And wears a bandana and glasses. So
hey, well, it's working, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
They're tuning in. So before we get going, Riot, I want to just go ahead and tell listeners how I met you because we're talking a little offline. It's kind of funny. So Riot is a part, and we'll get into this as well, of a team called Team Apex that's made up of a bunch of different streamers. Again, I didn't even ask you if that's still a thing. We'll get into that later. But
Yeah, the late great Team Apex. Yeah.
the late great
Yeah.
Team Apex. So
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about
yeah. So that was made up of American Riot, Arctic Soldier, Big Fry TV, and a few other guys, if I remember correctly.
it. No, that was it.
That was it. That was it. 3.
Yeah, well, initially Lord Quode was in it, so there was 4.
Okay.
Lord Quode was before.
Yeah.
Arctic. Yep. Okay.
So I was watching Big Fry just as an average, just, hardcore gamer, trying to find some cool survival games to play. And before Big Fry became the big name that he is on YouTube in the gaming world, and got plugged into his community. And from that started getting into some of like Star Citizen was one of the games that we did. The Dead Matter saga and Dead Side. And when Dead Side, which I know this will be probably one of the things we're going to talk about, like that was my introduction to what a Discord community could truly be if it's done correctly. And you guys 1000% from the very beginning did it correctly. As someone who's been a part of that, if you guys are not a part of their community, specifically Riot's, I mean, absolutely get plugged in, jump in the Discord, because felt right at home, was able to get in there and have people that wanted to play with you. And it's so crazy because you think like, oh man, like people actually in this Discord want to play, like they're really cool, whatever, they're going to be kind of a bunch of douchebags. And no, that is not how it was. And lo and behold, being a part of the Big Fry, the Fry Nation, I got traded in a prisoner swap with the American Riot. And lo and behold, that's how I met Riot and got connected with him. So kind of a funny kind of string of events, and here we are. As the introduction, how I met you, Riot, go ahead and let everybody kind of, I guess, let them know who Riot is before we kind of dive into your career as a streamer and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah, so American Riot started in around 2018 or so. I had this idea initially. American Riot wasn't even, what the name of the channel was going to be, what the persona was going to be, like what the brand was going to be. It wasn't even American Riot. And I swore to my community that if we ever become a Twitch partner, we will do a Twitch partner celebration stream, and I will let everyone know what the original name and idea for this channel was. It's pretty hilarious and probably a little cringe, but so we'll leave that for that if we ever get to celebrate that one day. But so American Riot started about 2018. I was actually writing down names. So I was at work, and I was on a break at work. I was over lunch or something. I was writing down some stuff, and I remember sitting at work in my day job, and I wrote down maybe 4 or 5 screen names. And how this even became, so I'll go back one. I was watching PUBG at the time. I loved PUBG. I built a PC. I never used it. And so my friends were like, bro, you built a PC. Like, why aren't you playing it? And I was like, it's just so much easier to play on the PlayStation. You know what I mean? And there's only 2 of us at PCs, like my 2 good friends that convinced me to build a PC, and we're still playing on freaking PlayStation together. Like, why are we not playing Battlefield on PlayStation, on PC? Why are we playing well, it's just easier. We already have it downloaded on PSN. But anyway, so I started watching PUBG. PUBG came out of nowhere, surprised the whole world. And I was like, dude, this is the craziest freaking idea for a video game. You know what I mean? Like, dude, you drop on an island with 100 people and you fight to the death. Like, this shit is wild, And I just thought it was such a cool idea, and it was so intense. And I didn't know the history, right? But before that, I didn't know the Arma history, the DayZ history. I didn't know the history of the original Battle Royale movie, right? I think it was a Japanese film. Right. So I didn't even know any of that. And so I thought it was a cool idea. I was obsessed with PUBG. I was watching it on YouTube. Well, when I ran out of YouTube videos to watch, right? Like, this is how much, this is, obviously before kids, before I had kids. Yeah. I ran out of YouTube videos to watch. I don't have that problem anymore. I don't have the time to watch YouTube videos, but I consumed all the YouTube content. I was like, how else am I going to learn about PUBG and get better at this game? So then I started watching it on Twitch, and Miss Riot says to me, she says, honey, you play video games enough. Why don't you just stream them? And I told her, I said, that's weird to watch people play video games. No one's going to watch me play video games. And that's what my exact words were. You know, like as an old school
Little did
gamer,
you know.
yeah, right. Like as an old school gamer, like that's weird to watch people play video games, and that's not, you know what I mean. I'd rather play them and not watch people. And she's like, "Well, you're watching people right now," and I was like, "Son of a bitch!" Right? I was like, "Oh no, she's right."
Can't argue with that logic.
Yeah, and I was like, "It's because I ran out of YouTube content." Right? Anyway, besides the point. So anyway, she said that, and I said, "You know," I started thinking about it, and I said, "You know what? Fine. You know, you're right. Maybe I should try this out." So I was coming up with screen names. I walked to my boss's office. I walked over to her office. I set down a piece of paper and I said, I want you to point at the name that jumps out to you the most. I didn't tell her what it was about. I didn't tell her what it was. I didn't say anything. My boss was looking through and she points. My boss points and I looked down. She pointed at American Riot. So I will always remember that moment. And I'll always remember who my boss was at the time who pointed that. And that is how the American Riot was born. It was very, and the name says it all. It's like, it's very much over the top America, rock and roll. Riot is a play on violence, and it's also a play on like a riot of flowers, right? Like everything American, right? You know what I mean? Hamburgers, hot dogs, Chevrolet, Ford, you know what I mean? Right? Like, you know, President Lincoln, you know what I mean? Everything American, you know, just whatever you can think of that's the most iconic American thing, you know what I mean? Guns, right?
Bad housing market.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bad
sorry.
housing. Yeah. A divided two-party system. No, right. So everything that was American. So American Riot was a play on that, right? So it was a play on like violence, right? Because I play tactical shooters and looter shooters, and I love like first-person shooters and third-person shooters. SOCOM's my favorite game of all time. It's a third-person shooter. But like, so it was a play on that, but it was also a play on everything American. And if you couldn't tell, I'm very patriotic, right? Like I know we don't have a perfect system, but I think we're the best in the world. And I think I've been very blessed. I won the lottery to be born in America. You know what I mean? And I hope my sons feel the same way one day. And I hope that, you know, the opportunities I've had in the United States, you know, my family will continue to have my sons and grandkids, you know, if I'm blessed to have grandkids one day. So anyway, that's a little bit about how American Riot got started. So,
Dude, that's crazy.
Shout out to your wife. I know that that's a big reason that me and Tyler get to stay up till ungodly hours of the morning, streaming and playing Call of Duty and all that stuff is because our wives allow us to. So
yeah,
you know, shout out all the wives out there.
100%.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, she is the original manager, right? Like she is, she's always supported me. She actually edited my YouTube videos for a long time too, before she started back work and obviously before we had the second kid. So
What a baller.
Yeah, a lot. So if you go back maybe a couple years ago, I really didn't get into YouTube, really push it to like the last 12 months. But if you go back further, I would do videos every once in a while, and she would edit a lot of those videos. So yeah,
And those videos actually have all of the most hits, right? All the most views.
Yeah, they were very popular. Yeah, that was the original moments for the Riot community. Yeah. I mean, that was before you could edit things so fast. Like nowadays, you can edit so quick. You can turn
before AI.
Yeah, you can turn a short in seconds. Before, Miss Riot was actually putting the text in there, cutting it. Before, she would take the stream and she would cut out my face from the stream and overlay it in Adobe. And yeah, nuts, man. But like, yeah, and it would take,
dude, I remember
a couple hours to make a short. If you want to do a good one, right? You obviously, if you have experience, you could crank them out faster than that. And if you saved all your templates, but before that, you know what I mean? And now you can turn a short in, 30 seconds if you already have the right material, you know what I mean? If you don't have to go back and edit anything. So
yeah, dude, I remember those now. Like it was like you like floating over the video, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember those videos. That's really funny. Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so American Riot started. That's kind of funny too, because typically, at least for myself, like obviously like doing Twitch for me, when I started doing it, it was iTiger Gaming just because my gamer tag was iTiger. So that's kind of cool that when you went into this, like you didn't go into this, like, I guess essentially playing a specific game associated with like a gamer tag. It was truly like dude, that's really cool. I'd be curious to know like how many people actually did that. That's freaking legit.
Well, to me, it was all about like I prepped too. I mean, I didn't even get in. Miss Riot talked about me streaming months before I did it.
Really?
And so yeah, so there's a famous saying by Abraham Lincoln, and he says, if you give me 8 hours to cut down a tree, I'm going to sharpen my axe for 6 of those hours, right? And so kind of the thought behind that is that it's all about preparation, and preparation is key to success. And I'm not always the best at preparing for things, but that was one thing I really thought about. Like, if I'm going to do this, and I took it very serious in the beginning, if I'm going to do this, like I'm going to create a brand from the beginning and what I want to do. Hell, I didn't know if I was going to like it or not, and here I am. 5-6 years later, we're still doing it. Yeah, didn't you just kind of love it? It starts off,
Right.
you're going to do this, and then you don't even know if you're going to like it or not. And then, yeah, I just kind of have grown to love it, and it's just become a part of me now and a part of my family. It's like Riot is now a part of the family. Miss Riot said it the other day, we recently, I took a new job offer with my company. And so, Miss Riot, once we moved to another state, we were kind of getting our, everything set up and getting our house set up. And it was like, well, when is Riot coming back? When do we get the streams up? Because now, like, Riot's part of the family. The same with when we had our baby. I took a week off when we had the baby, or maybe 10 days. And it was like, how do we fit our family back together? You know what I mean? Because when you have a baby, it's a whole, everything changes, and especially your first one. And then the second one, like, how do we get our life? How do we get back into a routine? Well, Riot's just a part of our life and a part of our routine now.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's very interesting now. It's kind of become part of that.
So. I know for me, that's like the main reason why I stopped streaming the first time, was because like just the struggles of getting used to having a first kid. And obviously, like a lot of people, like, when you start doing stuff over COVID, when you have a lot of time on your hands, like, and then, trying to figure all that out, like, that can be tough. So to be able to have a plan, doing things the way you did it, I think that's freaking smart, first of all. And like kudos to you, man. Like, that's awesome that you've been able to balance it that way, which kind of brings me to the next question. How has it been balancing, a little more, I guess, elaborate on what you're talking about here. I guess what I would call the American Riot life, via Twitch in real life. Like, for those of us out there that are maybe trying to figure out that balance.
Yeah. It's tough. It's really tough. I don't sleep a lot. I'll say that. And I've kind of tried to take more time for myself and like getting more rest, because I think it's better for the community if I'm more well rested, right? You don't want to burn, you don't want to burn out. And so, yeah, it's tough because I work a full-time job. I don't really go into my work too much, but I do work, the best way I compare it is like, working in the leadership, role with a larger company. And so, but I don't really go into too much details because, I'm sure, we like to keep, I like to keep my personal life kind of separate. Yeah. But it's tough, man, because, some weeks I work, 60 hours a week. And, I'm working 12-hour shifts at work, and I'm going in before, the sun comes up, and I'm coming back when it's dark, and that's super depressed, especially in the wintertime. It freaking sucks, dude, in the wintertime when you're working long hours at work. Sure. And then I come home, and usually the routine is, I'll get home. I see little Riot. I see Miss Riot. I'll play with him for a little while. She's usually got dinner cooking or about ready. And then, we eat dinner, hang out with him for a little bit longer. I run upstairs, use the restroom, take a shower, don the bandana, get the glasses on, throw on the tank top, throw on some black jeans and some Vans. And it's like, dude, I'm ready to rock. And then, because I stream at 8:30 local, my time, you know what I mean? And so, and sometimes I do have to push the streams, if I work a little bit later and I don't get home a little bit later, sometimes I say, all right, guys, we're starting at 9:00. But yeah, it's really demanding because I wake up early. But balancing, I think it's the key to balance. Some people will say work-life balance. I don't like that term. Really, I think it's just really more about, rather than balancing everything, I think it's just kind of triaging things and like, knowing where you can flex. And so family always comes first to me. Family always comes first. That comes above my day job. It comes above streaming. And so when you say work-life balance, I'm not balancing like shit. Like, this, my family's first, you know what I mean? Obviously, work will ask a lot of me sometimes, and you're right, it takes a lot of time, but I think you put your family first, and you try to be present with them when you're with them. And on the weekends, we always try to do something fun and go out and as a family and do something fun on the weekends. And then, I just kind of try to fit in editing, when the kids are napping, or, the streams happen at night when everyone's asleep. So, Miss Riot's usually asleep, the, kids are asleep. And so,
Do you have?
Yeah, it's
Did you
tough.
soundproof your streaming room for hitting those growls if everybody's
So they're
asleep?
all kind of used to it, actually. Yeah, even
Doesn't
the
even
baby's
phase them
used to it.
anymore?
Yeah. And you know, we're blessed that you know, the house is large enough that they're upstairs on the opposite side of the house, so it
Nice.
helps. But yeah, man, it's tough. But I think what keeps me going is like the drive, like, you know, I love it so much, and I want to be very successful as a content creator. I want to do this full time one day. I would love to do this
Yeah.
full time one day, because, you know, there's so many games that I don't get to play, like RPGs and different things, and like going back to my childhood. And like, dude, if you can literally make a career out of something you love, like that's the American dream to me. The American dream is doing something you love and being able to do it. And if I could sit here and do this full time one day and hang out and play with the community and get to the games too that I haven't played, and just be able to do this, like that's what drives me. And if I can take care of my family doing that, that's amazing. And look, hell, if I don't get to do that, you know, till one day when I, you know, am able to punch out at my regular job and have enough saved up to where I can leave the company or retire, you know what I mean? Like if I don't get that opportunity to do it earlier and I have to do it later in life, that's fine. I love it. I think I'll still be around doing it. But the Riot has given me so many opportunities, man, to be able to play games, to be able to earn income off that, to be able to meet really cool people, to be able to upgrade my PC and sound equipment, all this stuff that doesn't have to come out of our budget. And you know, when you get kids and you start having kids and, you know, things get more expensive and you incur all these additional expenses, right? Like whether it's for daycare or summer camp or this or that, you know what I mean? Or just groceries, right? And it's expensive to feed more people. And so the Riot allows me to have a hobby that kind of pays for itself, and it also allows me to meet really cool people. And also the sky's the limit, you know what I mean? Like depending on where you work, you know, you can only progress so much in your company, right? Before you're kind of capped out, or before you have to be there longer, or before you have to wait for, you know what I mean, one of the other managers to retire, or you get transferred to another branch. With streaming and content creation, the sky's the limit, you know what I mean? Like you can be as, you know, low key as you want, or you can be as successful as you want if you have the right opportunities, you work hard and you're smart about it. And so that's kind of the way I've always seen it. So yeah, but I just love it. I'm driven, and that's what keeps me going and balanced and everything. So it's tough to balance it, but it's worth it. And I have the end goal in mind, and I know where I want to be, and I know it's part of the journey. And so I don't know, that's what keeps me going. So, and the community, like the community is so awesome. I get like so much affirmation all the time. People say, but dude, I love your stream. I've had guys come into my, you know, DM me and say, look, man, I lost a loved one this week. It was really, really freaking tough. And yeah, I was real close to my mom or my dad or, you know, whoever it was. And dude, I came to your stream and it, you know, I smiled and it made me forget about it for a little bit. I've had guys come to me and say, dude, like, man, like no kidding. You know, I was really in a dark place, and I didn't think I was going to wake up tomorrow. You know what I mean? I didn't think I wanted to be here tomorrow. And they said, I caught your stream and it helped me, like, you know, like realize like, man, like there are some things that you can enjoy. And it just made me kind of forget about that stuff, or like your positive energy made me like realize like, dude, there's hope for things. And you know, I don't like the term religious, right? Like I have faith, right? You know what I mean? I believe in God, Jesus Christ. And like you know what I mean? Like by no means am I perfect. And, but you know what I mean? I ask God, you know, I'll pray, say like, God, like, he's like, give me the energy to get through tonight and like help me positively influence people. And I'm not, I cuss way too much. And, you know, I love metal music, and I'm working on some metal albums, and there's certainly things that I could do better about, but like, I'm a guy of faith. And so, you know, I really believe too, that I'm put here on this earth to help entertain people and positively influence people. And that's one of the reasons I really kind of stay out of politics in my streams and stay out of like a lot of, you know, I'll make jokes about current events, but I try to stay out of all that, and even like religion to an extent, but because I feel like I'm here to entertain you guys and to provide value and make you have a good night.
It's an escape.
That's exactly right.
Keep right. I really like what you said about you know, being able to give people something to look forward to, and, you know, like something that they can enjoy. Like we said, escape from their, you know, day-to-day, you know, crap that they're going through. Because I actually, whenever my kids were born, I completely stopped playing video games. No, I didn't even have a system, nothing. Got rid of it, and just because I was like, I'm never gonna have time to do this again. So just rip the Band-Aid off, get rid of it. And it wasn't for months of pestering by Tyler to all right, I'll get an Xbox. We'll get back on it. And actually, my wife was she tells me like, hey, you've had a day. Go play some video games with Tyler and do all that, because she's expressed to me that, like, I know that it helps you, forget about all the bad shit that happened this week. Go zone out for a couple hours and go shoot some people in the face on Call of Duty. I
Yeah.
know that's good for you. And so it really is. It can be that escape. So
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and probably you're probably shooting people in the face with a Car 98. I hear that they've introduced that into Warzone recently. So
Oh yes, we are.
yeah, I've heard good stuff about it.
We could do a
I've
whole
heard good
episode
stuff
on the
about
car.
it. No, yeah.
Listen, don't you get us started? Don't you start?
No, I'm triggered. I'm triggered to host.
my ear now.
I just got real
man.
cringy, Riot. I threw a
man.
thermal on that bad boy.
I just got a metal heart on right now. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So yeah, well, yeah, 100%. And I think it's easy. It's easy to be divisive. It's easy to talk about politics. It's easy to do things for clicks, right? And I think you can resonate with, well, at least half the country, depending on what you talk about. But like you can do that, right? And yeah, like you could get clicks and you could get all this, but I think no, like I want to be an entertainer. And I know it's so tough though sometimes, like society's so interwoven. And politics and shit never really were in video games forever. And they have slowly crept into that. And they are more and more creeping into gaming. And you're starting to see it in the content creator space with companies like Twitch, with big dev companies, right? It's like so interwoven. And like, it's like I try to be like apolitical and try to be like this entertainer in this industry that used to be about entertaining. And now the industry, it's so hard because now there's like so many agendas, just like, you know what I mean? Injected into everything. And it's like, it's tough, you know what I mean? And so even as a content creator, I kind of have to weigh, because there are current events that will happen in the gaming space, and so I don't know. So I will say that's tough too. You know what I mean? But try to keep my eye on the prize. Like, no, I'm here to entertain you guys and to rock out and give you guys some sick metal vocals and to shoot the shit. And I have a little bit of a trolley community. And so to keep you guys entertained, and I play with my viewers. That's our big thing. I play with the community all the time. Yeah. And so iTiger knows about that. And so yeah, like that's kind of my thing. So I try to stick in my lane,
I really like too, right? Like, you kind of touched me. So for context, me and John, we both come from pastor home backgrounds.
Oh, okay.
So like kind of come from that same thing. So it's really cool kind of hearing you as another creator kind of be open about the faith, because we are not perfect either. I like the whole thought process of, for me personally, I hate religion. I think religion's stupid. I don't, the Jesus I believed in didn't like religion either. So I believe in the Bible. I believe in the Bible. I believe in what the Bible talks about, and I believe in Jesus Christ. It's like that's how I look at things. So it's good to kind of hear somebody else kind of like, it's refreshing to hear that.
At the same time, if you hear us in our Call of Duty lobbies,
I'm not banned.
We're not a shining example of how one should behave. I've never been banned. This guy,
that's fair. That's fair. Well, neither were the apostles, if you look into it. So yeah, they were quite the rough group of folks.
Right.
So, yeah.
So kind of transition a little bit here, right? I want to get into more of your background in testing to kind of lead this into more of the, I guess, like the ending part of like GrayZone and that. Kind of give us kind of a little bit, I guess, the cliff note, like career highlights of some of the games you've gotten the opportunity to, I guess, quote unquote, test on, if you will.
Oh man, test on. Well, I say that's every early access game that I've gotten into.
Exactly, right?
That's letting me down. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man. So I'll say some of the stuff. I like early access games. I think I like them because like the AAA space that over the last, I'd say over the last, 3, 4, 5 years to me has like not been great. There's really like there's few examples in my opinion of AAA multiplayer shooter games that were like, dude, they nailed it. Now there are great examples of AAA games in the space that are single player that have done really, really well. You have Cyberpunk, more recent example, Alan Wake 2. You have these single player. God of War, the Zelda series, Legend of Zelda series.
Assassin's Creed
Yeah, yep. And let us not forget about some of the other recent examples of like really, really big single player games that have done extraordinary well, like Baldur's Gate, right? And so that blew, I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, Elden Ring. And so there have been shining examples in that space, I think, of single player games. But I love tactical shooters, multiplayer games. I grew up playing SOCOM 2, U.S. Navy SEALs, greatest game of all time, in my opinion. Like it is SOCOM is the GOAT. Yeah.
Group.
That was actually my first it like kind of watching streaming in a way, because my best friend growing up, his older brother was the GOAT at SOCOM, and we never got to touch the sticks, so it was us just
That's fair. He probably used the iDub. Okay, he might not have been as good as you thought.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. That's a SOCOM reference for all my
looking at him now.
freaking people.
Looking at him now, I'd probably go back and be like, "Oh, brother, this guy stinks." But but yeah, we never got to touch the sticks, so we were just sitting on the couch watching him. That was like my first time like watching a streamer almost.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And think about it. We would gather around I did LAN parties, dude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that shit was like that's like watching Twitch, you know what I mean? It's just, that was before the internet. That was before the technology existed for us to do that and to be able to have those kind of experiences and that opportunity. And so, yeah, 100%. So, but yeah, I'm glad, dude. I wore a SOCOM shirt last night. My son was doing something, and I went and picked him up, and I ran to one of my friends, and I ran to a guy I knew, and he was like, "Dude, is that like the SOCOM?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Dude, I love that game." We started talking about it, and it was so funny. He was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I retired from gaming." He's like, "I don't do that anymore. You know, I got kids, right? We're thinking of people that have kids, they hang it all up." And he's a project manager for a big construction company now. And so he was telling me, he's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "But dude, there's this one game that looks crazy. It looks so real." And he's like, "I'm thinking about maybe getting back into gaming again just for this game." And I was like, "What game are you talking about?" And he's like, "Body cam." And I was like, "Bro," I was like, "Oh, let me show you my YouTube. Here's the body cam video."
Dude.
No, but anyways, I digress. But speaking, I mean, that's kind of along the games of indie titles, right? There's two. It was like a 17-year-old, 19-year-old that's working on that game. I don't know what country they're from. I don't think they're from the States.
That game is legit.
Two developers, right? You know, teenagers that are making that game. But yeah, so getting into testing, I would say, all that to say this. The games that I like, they don't really exist. My perfect game doesn't exist yet, right? And so SOCOM is a thing of the past. Sony's never bringing that back. That was my perfect game. And so I was like, man, how do you scratch this itch of a tactical third-person shooter, or even just a tactical milsim experience where communication is key? I'm not playing with a bunch of kids running around yelling the N-word, you know what I mean? Like just know, being terrible people. Like that shit's like, yeah, like, man, no. And so games like Insurgency Sandstorm and Deadside and freaking Ring of Elysium and these like really kind of niche PC games that I've gotten into over the years, Zero Survival, Caliber, things of that nature. These games that kind of got me into that. So kind of my way, like kind of getting into testing was I realized like early access was a thing, and being on PC, I was like, man, I have access to these games that are so early on, and a lot of them seem promising at first, and like 90% of them don't make it there, you know, and some of them end up being scams the day before. But you know, I think gaming on PC in the early access program, while it's full of a lot of terrible stuff and a lot of crap and things that shouldn't even be on there, there are some hidden gems, and it is actually, the idea behind it is cool. Like, hey, let me bring you idea instead of going to a board of directors and an investment company and a publisher. Here's my thing. We can self-publish, right? And so that's how I got into it. And so my kind of first example of that was Deadside. Was one of the very first games I got into really early. Big Fry, the team behind Deadside got into contact with Big Fry, or he got into contact with them, and he was obviously a bigger creator at the time. And now he's huge, but at the time, and they gave him access to the game early, and they gave Arctic Soldier and myself access to the game early because Fry was like, I want my boys to play. And so that was kind of my first kind of taste of playing the game really early on. Even Insurgency Sandstorm, I got to play in some of their tests.
Oh,
and
nice.
So as like a streamer, I realized, one, it's very advantageous to play early because you get a lot of eyes on your channel that you normally wouldn't get. So it's a great opportunity, but also you get to play a game early to decide like, is this something for my community? Is this something that I could really see myself playing? So that's how I kind of got into it. And Dead Side was like kind of the first big game that I got to get into and play a little early and be a part of that early access ride. PUBG, you could say, was the original one. I even getting into that was early access. Of course, the game had blown up. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And I kind of just games that I think would be great for the community seem to come out in early access and are really early. So that's kind of
Yeah. No, definitely. And so Fry used to really make fun of me because I'd always bring this up whenever he would in his lives when he would get on his tactical shooter rants about, oh, there's nothing that's anywhere close to SOCOM. I have kind of a hot take. To me, my perfect game is actually like closest thing to a tactical shooter that's a AAA version is Ghost Recon Wildlands, which was then ruined by when they did Breakpoint, and I got the game test that, and I obliterated that game because completely flipped that game on its head. But
here's all the color spectrums. This is your loot, and maybe you'll grab a purple. Like, what are we doing? Like Tom Clancy was rolling in his grave, dude. Like, holy cow, dude. Like, what is
this man gets?
And the thing is, like, how do these companies become so out of touch with reality? And dude, sorry, dude, you have these huge companies that have these successful franchises and they own the IP, they own the intellectual property. Tom Clancy has since, passed away, you know what I mean? Thank you, Tom Clancy, for, really making this great, game. Yeah. But dude, like, what happened? And like, I think, these companies get so big and they get so corporate and they get so bogged down with bureaucracy, and people are getting put into these leadership positions that don't know shit about gaming, that's never played a game before, that want to inject either, some random ideology, and they want to make it like this social kind of like, let me put a political spin on it, or they get put in these positions and they're not gamers and like, how can I make the most money for my company? And they do just dumb shit. And they do like this random, like, who sends out these surveys? Like, oh, gamers wanted it. Oh, we sent out a random survey, and survey in, people want purple, gold, and yellow.
Like,
the freaking Fortnite kids, you sent this out to that's not the people that are going to play your game. I'm sorry. I digress, because it's like, bro, I don't want to say you're stupid, but wouldn't you have to be? Like, how do these people make six?
No, they are stupid.
Like they're so out of touch with people. They're so out of touch.
Like, right. Tell me something. A game that literally took a year and a half for it to catch on with a cult following, that was so viral into its second year that it literally pushed its studio into making another game. That's what happened. That game they thought died because the multiplayer never caught on with what they were doing as a matchmaking, because that's never what people wanted. They wanted you to expand upon what you were doing with the Sinaloa cartel in Bolivia, and they said, okay, how do we make this better? You know what? Let's make, instead of real people, robots. That's it. Robots. And that's how they opened it up. And then they were like, we're going to give you all these great mechanics, but we're going to bring in the Division and make all the gun loot like the Division.
How can we Frankenstein a game together with all the best aspects of other games that work in those communities and work in those? How can we put it together? That we already make, and let's get the widest audience possible. That's what SOCOM did. SOCOM 4. SOCOM 4 is the worst SOCOM on the planet. I don't even acknowledge it as a real SOCOM. # not my SOCOM. No, I'm sorry. That is a pop culture joke. Anyway, but like the thing is like, it was the worst SOCOM ever, and they tried to make it like a Gears of War. They blended, they put a cover system in, they made the operators cheesy. Like, they did all this crap that no one asked for, that nobody wanted, but it's because the people that pull the purse strings, the people that are injecting money into these companies have no creative control anymore, and the suits say, we want XYZ, we want to make it, put all the best features, because these suits are fucking idiots. Pardon my French, dude. Sorry, Mom, if you listen to this podcast. But the thing is, like, dude, you have these suits that are in control that say, we want to make the most money possible. And we think if you inject all the best features of all these other games that we own, it's going to be a huge, no, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. And it's never worked that way. And maybe if it does every once in a while, that's a red hit. That's like a blue moon, like, right. That is an anomaly. So anyway, I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
It's because it's like, when you have a game like that and you have this loyal following, it's like, okay, we got them. So essentially, screw those guys. We already
Yeah.
have them. How can we grow this thing to be even? It's like,
Yeah.
well, how about you reward the loyal community that's been playing your game and adores your game,
Yep.
and make more content for them and let it grow organically because you have a good game.
Mhm.
And also too, if you remember at the end of breakpoints, like when they kind of threw their hands up in the air, it was like a year later they sent out a survey because they sent it out to the game testers first, and it was, what would you like to be done to this game, basically. And essentially what they did was, at like, now you can select ghost mode and it transforms breakpoint as closely as they can into how Wildlands was,
Yeah.
which is now at this point, the game's dead.
Yeah.
No one's playing it. You've screwed it up. You've completely stopped supporting it. So no one's going to play it. But I think, honestly, like, this entire conversation is kind of really like kind of my last question, really kind of very much fits it as, this is the state of gaming, guys. This is why, to me, the last good AAA title game that was any type of a let's call it like a tactical first person shooter of any degree, was the OG Warzone, in my opinion. I don't know of another game since OG Warzone, because I believe Insurgency was already out at that point.
Yeah, Insurgency came out before then.
Yeah, it came out before. So that was the last one. And since then, I mean, John, we play enough Call of Duty, enough Warzone. No, the game is in such a piss poor shape. It's such a horrible state right now.
We say it every time we play. It's like, this game blows. Like, this is not a good game. Like, it's like,
you gotta sound like the Tarkov community, dude.
Well, it's like I say all the time. It's like, I hate Call of Duty now. I don't like the game. I play Call of Duty because my friends play, and I want to hang out with my boys and play a game. I like the community. Well, the general Call of Duty community, not so much, but like, I like my community.
Sure. Yeah.
With it, I don't like the game. To me, I'll actually go a little bit further back than you, Tyler, because I was kind of already like that with original Warzone. Don't get me wrong. Original Warzone 10 times better than what we have now. But even then I was like, man, this just ain't it. Like, it's not what it used to be.
But
I think the last great AAA title first person shooter was Battlefield 4. And that is my
Battlefield 4.
That's my goated game.
Let me tell you something. If you want to go get back into that right now, there is a thriving community of I don't even know, I can't even think of what you call it, but basically you can go get involved in a faction of some part of the world, and you can jump in there and start doing raids. And I was a part of one of them, and they are a blast.
Yeah, I'm with you, Johnny. I think Battlefield 4, as far as from a huge company, was the last great like first person shooter, and really, back in the Battlefield 3 and 4 days. Sales wise, like, they didn't give Call of Duty a run for their money. Call of Duty has always been this, behemoth. But as far as passion and community, and as far as a lot of people playing their games and like being really and like people being hyped about it, I think it certainly gave Call of Duty a run for their money. And if Battlefield would have continued improving their formula and doing what worked and catering to their community and like making it better and better, I think that they eventually would have given Call of Duty a run for their money.
I agree.
Eventually. And, I would argue that Warzone kind of ruined Call of Duty for certain reasons and certain things, but even Call of Duty kind of killed it. I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time. I'm not a big Call of Duty fan. I don't know if it's just my old age. No, it's just Call of Duty to me was like probably Black Ops. Like, the first Black Ops was like the last, to me, one of the great Call of Duties. I think Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 was pretty good. But yeah, really Black Ops to me, it kind of ended after Black Ops was the last one that I really, really enjoyed. Obviously, Modern Warfare 2. I didn't play 3 too much, but I really loved Black Ops. And to me, that was kind of where it ended. But I also didn't have a PC. And so to me, I would say that some of the best first-person shooters that you'll play now are going to be on PC. And I would argue one of the best first-person shooters, in my opinion, one of the best ones is Arma 3 and Arma Reforger right now. Reforger has a huge modding community. Reforger has been cooking long enough to where we have like the DayZ mod back in Reforger now. You're using the new Infusion engine on Arma Reforger, which is Bohemia's. That is their premier engine that they're going to put Arma 4 on. And I think Arma 4 is going to catch a lot of people by surprise. It's still a few years out, but I think it's going to catch a lot of people by surprise. You have modern conflict now, so they've got all the mods. So Arma Reforger is set in the Cold War, so you have like the Cold War era weapons and equipment. But now guys like Clean and his community have created the worst case scenario server, which is modern conflict. It's actually like the Ukrainian Russian war. So it's pretty interesting. So you have modern conflicts now. I think Squad was pretty decent for a while, but Squad, and I jumped back into Squad, and I don't like their mechanics now. But dude, I would say, I would argue Arma 3 and Arma Reforger are some of the, if you want to play something kind of grounded in reality as far as like a tactical shooter, to me, those are really fun. Obviously, it's a lot more work getting into those games. Reforger is a lot easier to jump into.
But you can join the American Riot community where they
and we do. We play a lot of Arma. Yeah, and I think GrayZone Warfare is really GrayZone Warfare is so early right now, but they're really setting the pace to be.
Talk to us about that game, right?
Shooter. Yeah. So GrayZone Warfare, I got introduced to GrayZone Warfare. They introduced a reveal trailer, I think I want to say like back in like September, October last year, maybe a little before then. And it blew my mind. It was open world, super tactical. It reminded me of Arma 3 mixed with Ghost Recon Wildlands mixed with Tarkov. And I was like, holy crap. Like, I really like all these games. And they're kind of putting them the best. So I think that's a really great example of not picking out features, say what's going to be the most popular, but what do you really like about certain games? And how can we integrate that into a game that is unique, that has its own identity, but it's not hodgepodge together. It's not Frankenstein. It makes sense, right? Because it was built from the ground up to be open world. It was built from the ground up to have the quest system. It was built from the ground up to be very immersive and realistic. You know, it was built from the ground up to be a slower, you one shot, one kill type game. You know what I mean? And so that's how I got introduced to it. I covered it on YouTube, and apparently the devs kind of passed the YouTube video around the studio. They passed the YouTube video around the studio, and they thought they were like a big fan of like the metal vocals, and they were like, dude, that'll wake you up. And they liked the content. And then Rick reached out. He's their head of comms, and kind of invited me to their VIP program. And that's how I got involved with GrayZone Warfare. They were always like super transparent, super cool, really interested in feedback, really, really wanting to make a game based on community feedback. And they have a vision, like the devs are big fans of Ghost Recon Wildlands. And so iTiger, I think that's probably what drew you to that game, because they love it. And they said it's not an extraction shooter, but it is an open world persistent shooter where you do have to go back to the safe zone and you extract on the LZ. And it's kind of like really going on real missions in real life. So you have a FOB, you have a forward operating base, you go out on your mission, you hit the objective, right? You take out the terrorist or the bad guy, you know what I mean? And you grab all their computer equipment and laptops and the intel, and then you take it back to the FOB, right? And so that's what really drew that to me.
PTSD.
It might. So, but it's very kind of grounded in reality. And so that's what kind of got me involved in GrayZone Warfare. And so the dev team, Madfinger game, super cool. I got the opportunity to play it like I think it was a week early or so before it came out. And they issued me keys to give to my community so I could be able to play with people. And it's a PvE VP experience. They are focusing on PvE, but they do not discourage PvP. They want PvP to happen naturally in the world and organically. And they love PvP as well, but they're kind of catering it to how do I make the best possible open world persistent experience on Unreal Engine 5, which is beautiful. It's set in Vietnam is the easiest way to say it. It's set in Vietnam. It's really set in the map is modeled after Laos, but probably more people have a frame of reference. Vietnam's easier. So that's kind of the jungle environment, very thick, dense jungle, rivers and stuff. But that's how I got involved. I really love the game. I've been playing it. And then they asked me to be a part of their community leader program.
That's awesome.
To where people have a direct link, like my community, my Twitch community, my YouTube community have a direct link from me to the devs. So I am that direct link from them. And they actually ask questions. My community got to ask questions. I got to pick 3 questions. So what I did is I took the community and I took like 3 or 4 questions and made them, complex one question that had like 3 questions in it. So I was like, how do I get the most questions by my community answered by the dev team? And so I was like, we would like to know what the red zone is. What can we expect from the red zone? Are there anomalies in the red zone? Is it like stock? They were like, okay, so that was my one question, but But
and with
anyways,
the research I did, they do listen. So
they do
everybody who's
100%.
watching,
100%.
I know there was a specific issue that you guys brought up of whenever you were going into a mission point that people were sitting out there and they're basically just camping it when you got out killing you, and
Yep.
you guys wanted to be
LZ
able to draw,
camping, yep.
yeah, to shoot from the helicopters, and they fixed that with
They did. Yep. The devs, they like, it wasn't in the game. Like you couldn't shoot from helicopters. I remember we were able to shoot from helicopters, like in that test build that we played, you know, that we were able to stream for everybody. And then, they took it out of the early access build and we said, look, we want this back. We really think this is going to be advantageous for those in a helicopter to be able to defend themselves. And I've gotten in gunfights coming off the helicopter, and we've actually we've wiped whole squads, and we were on the defensive because we were ambushed, and we were able to wipe a whole squad because I was able to fire from a helicopter. And because that game is very grounded in reality, what I was doing was we landed, we were trying to come into, I think we were going to the name of the area is called Hunter's Paradise. There's a lot of PvP at Hunter's Paradise. We landed at like the northwestern LZ. We came in, and there was a good ambush spot there, and we got ambushed, and I just got off the helicopter, fired, boom, 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 and I just kept putting rounds down range, and then they took cover because I was firing. I was able to reload, and my guys started firing, and we kind of came in on them, and we took out a whole squad. It was sick, dude. It was really sick.
Dude, that's tough.
But yeah, that's one example. They really do listen. They do really care about feedback.
I've got a question for you, Riot. So this game, it sounds like something that I really want to get in and want to get into, and how, like, because this is I was in the Army for 5 years, and
nice.
I haven't found. Thanks. I don't say that to
no. I always say that to folks that have served in the Army and our first responder. I appreciate it.
Arrogant prick.
But like I've wanted a game that's that realistic. Like, okay, I want a game where like I have an advantage because I know how this works in the real world, at least to some extent, right? I'm not a damn Navy SEAL by any means, you know, but it's like I could, in theory, have a little bit of an advantage over, a person that doesn't have that experience, where you don't have that in your AAA games, like your Call of Duties and all that, because those are not grounded in reality at all.
Sure.
However, I do consider myself somewhat of a casual gamer. Is this game approachable to a casual gamer, or are you going to go in there and just immediately get wrecked?
Okay, no, that's a great question. And I will say this. A buddy of mine, Tacti Gamer, I don't know if you guys know him. He's a pretty big YouTuber. So Tacti Gamer said the way he's explained it is like it's a great game, like for dads to be able to jump into and jump out of. Not that you can't no life it and be really good, but what's cool about it is that you can really play it at your own pace. So there's two types of servers. There's joint warfare servers and there's or joint operation servers or joint ops, and then there's warfare servers. So the warfare server is PvP. So it is a PvEVP experience. And the joint operations servers is PvE. So there are players in it, but you are only, there's no PvP. They disable PvP. And so you can go out and do all your quests. You can run in the world. You can do all your starter quests in the starter area. You can go out and hit Tiger Bay and all these like really crazy in-game, for what it is right now. There's only 20% of the game. So the dev said like what you have in early access is only 20% of the game, which there are a handful of weapons. There's 133 quests. I think there's 150 quests total. Generally, most people get through 133 because the way you pick your quest line, that, you might can have up to 150, or there's 150 total, but if you complete it all, it's around 133. So you can play it at your own pace. It is hardcore, but the mechanics, your basic mechanics that you would have in a game like Call of Duty, for example, all your basic keybinds are similar. Now there is lean. You have lean in this game, so it's a little more tactical. You have lean. You can adjust the sight. So if you have a 6x sight, you can use the mouse wheel to scroll up, 1x, 2x, 3x, up to 6x. But yeah, no, I would say in the way they tailor it, your beginning quests are in the starting cities. So each faction has a starting city that you start at, and your beginning quests are in those starting cities, and the AI are not as lethal in those. I mean, they'll still kill you. They'll still one-shot you, but they're not as lethal. And so it really there is no tutorial. But yeah, if you were kind of casual and want to jump into it, I would suggest jumping into a PvE server, so joint operation server, And then the community, super helpful. When you're at the FOB playing in your faction, dude, people, yesterday, they started a charity chest. So there are places at the FOB, like boxes of ammo,
awesome.
random like caches at the FOB that are there as set pieces. The community got together, and on servers, anybody that has extra gear, they started just donating it and dropping it in the boxes. So if a new player comes in and they lose all their shit, they can actually go to the box and pick up a decked out AK if someone donated it.
That's dope.
Or some M855 rounds, some armor piercing rounds if you want them. You know what I mean? But yeah, so to answer your question, 100% approachable for casual gamers. If you're a hardcore and you just want to PvP and you want to no life it, you absolutely can, and you'll decimate a lot of people, and you'll probably hang out at the bunker a lot. You'll probably hang out at the military installation a lot. It's kind of like Tarkov. You have those really hot points, those POIs that are hot all the time because there's a lot of like kind of middle or in-game quests there, if that makes sense. And the AI also has higher tier loot, and they're more lethal at those in-game areas. So yeah, I'd say 100% for casual people, but as someone who's like, I would say like not casual, like I'm kind of more hardcore. Like I don't know life it, obviously, I have kids and a job and why, but I am competitive. I like to compete. I like to talk shit. C- gameplay. Occasionally I'll give you guys like an A+ play, but
A+ in entertainment always.
Yeah. A+ hype. A+ hype, B+ entertainment, C- gameplay is kind of our logo, but our slogan, I should say. But yeah, 100% approachable.
Cool.
Long answer to a short question.
Well, Riot, I'm stoked to play GrayZone. I hope everybody who maybe be on the fence or maybe are unfamiliar with GrayZone is, after watching this, is hyped about it. As far as finding you, if people are trying to find you, Riot, how can they find you?
Yeah, so if you Google American Riot, one word. So American Riot, common spelling, one word. If you Google that, the Twitch stream will pop up. You can click Twitch and follow me on Twitch. That's where we make our primary content. My YouTube is like the second link that pops up. We'd love to have you on YouTube. I make content on X, the app and artist formerly known as Twitter. That is another pop culture reference about Prince. If you didn't catch that, but ever since Prince turned himself into a symbol. Okay, that's also a Eminem reference. Okay, I'm done making pop culture references. Anyway, but yeah, so if you just Google American Riot, one word.
There you gained a follower. There you go.
Dude. Yo, thank you so much, man. Yeah, we take our followers around here very seriously. Dude, I scream. I have like a smoke machine that goes off when people follow the channel. It's nuts. We do metal vocals. We take shots for subs.
Can I get? You don't have to do the smoke machine, but can I get a scream?
Yeah, dude. So you followed on Twitch? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is it Johnny the Dad? Is that how you followed on Twitch?
Yeah.
Yo, Johnny the Dad. Appreciate the follow. You're awesome. Wow, time. Let's go. Yo, Johnny, appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Yo, appreciate you, man.
Can I unfollow and just keep following? And
you can. And actually,
it winds down a little bit every time.
Well, you just get that once. But I do have a buddy of mine play guitar, and I did some vocals. So the follower notification is actually custom to me doing vocals. Yeah, sometimes I, knock my mic off. It comes unscrewed. Sometimes I knock my chair down. Shit,
it gets
falls
unhinged.
I break things. Yeah, it gets pretty wild. I'm not warmed up tonight, so I apologize for the rough vocals this morning. I try to warm up a little bit before the show.
Sometimes you jump in the chair to do it too. I've seen that.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I jump in the chair. I've broken chairs before. I've spilled alcohol and soda and Mountain Dew and energy drinks on my keyboard. It's a good time. Yeah, it's all in good fun. It's all in good fun. We have a good time. I like to have a good time, but that's how people can find me. Like I said, I just started doing more content on YouTube. So, dude, someone took one of my YouTube videos and put it on TikTok, and it got like over 50,000 likes. So I don't know how many views. I think it has like almost 600,000 views. But I'm like, well, I maybe might start posting stuff there again one day. But they're just kind of stealing our data and sending it to cold storage in China. But other than that, it's a pretty good app. But anyway, so. Yeah, Twitch, primary content, YouTube. We'd love to have you and on X as well. And on the Discord too. If you join in my Twitch chat, you can hit ! Discord. But yeah, I love meeting new people. I love playing with the community. So if any of your listeners like tactical shooters, looter shooters, extraction shooters, survival games, I like games like DayZ and Scum as well. I played quite a bit of those. Currently, I'm playing a lot of GrayZone Warfare. Body Cam has been really fun. Playing Arena Breakout Infinite, which is like Tarkov, but better in my opinion. I just put a video about that. So if anybody is triggered by that, go watch the YouTube video about how breakout arena is better than Tarkov, but I play Tarkov as well. But yeah, that's kind of what I play, and I play Arma. I've been enjoying Arma, and we do Warzone community nights every once in a while.
Nice.
So yeah, for all those who
Make
hate Warzone
sure
but play it, yeah.
if you don't do anything, go follow the Twitch and get in the community, guys, of Discord with Riot. It's going to be one of the best things you do as
It's
a
a good
gamer
time.
if you're looking
Yeah.
for a good community on Discord. So, well, Riot, we appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, thanks so much
You
for having
are
me,
the man. It has been an absolute blast. Hopefully, we can have you on again because I really love to get more in depth on state of gaming with you because I think that we could be here for another hour talking about
talk
that.
about all that stuff.
But
Yeah, man,
we'll
talk about
tease
all the
it,
good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But John, you got anything to add on the first episode of the Hot Drop?
No, you've made me want to speed up the process of building a PC.
Told you he will do that.
Which, I've been putting off, and my goal is by the end of this year, I'll have me a PC built. We'll see if we can get that done, but definitely want to hop in some GrayZone after hearing you talk about it.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. My bank account isn't, but I am.
That's fair.
Right. Before we get you out of here, we got to ask you what is going to be the sticking point of this show for anybody we bring on. American Riot, do you like to hot drop?
I'm supposed to say, yeah, I think I like the hot drop. That's the dude. Hell yeah. It's been awesome, dude. Dude, I love to hot drop, baby. Yo, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I love it, man. Thanks for having me. This has been an absolute pleasure. You guys are awesome. You guys are actually killing it. So I feel honored to be on a show like this. I've never got an opportunity to be on anything like this. You guys are absolutely crushing it. So thanks for having me. That's awesome, man. I'm excited.
Cool.
So just guys, send me the episode, and let me know where I can follow you guys at. I see all your links down there. So
100%.
Make sure I get on the podcast and follow you guys and be able to watch that.
Appreciate it. Guys, this has been the Hot Drop. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Let's go.